She thought the forest would kill her, but she was already dead inside. The hut was dark, cold, and smelled of earth and old wood. By the time she collapsed on the floor, she had stopped praying for mercy. But when she woke to the scent of bread and warmth, and saw him standing over the stove with eyes like blood and dawn, she realized some dangers do not come with fangs. They come with gentle hands. The rain had not stopped for 2 days. Elara walked through the forest with no destination, only distance. Distance from the village that had turned her out. Distance from the voices that called her cursed. Distance from the boy who had promised her forever and then walked away when her family lost everything. Her clothes clung to her skin, heavy and cold. Her hair stuck to her face in dark, wet ropes. She had not eaten since yesterday morning. A piece of stale bread someone had thrown at her feet like she was a stray dog. She did not cry anymore. There were no tears left. The trees grew thicker the deeper she went. The villagers said no one came back from the deep forest. They said it belonged to something old. Something that did not forgive trespassers. Good, she thought. Let it take me. Then she saw it. A hut, small and crooked, tucked between 2 ancient oaks. The roof sagged, the windows were dark, but the door was ajar. She did not think. She pushed it open and stumbled inside. It smelled like aged wood and smoke. There was a bed in the corner, rough but dry. A table. A cold fireplace. No one had been here in a long time. She collapsed onto the floor and pulled her knees to her chest. Her body shook, but not from the cold. From everything. From the weight of being unwanted. She closed her eyes. If I die here, she thought, at least I will die alone. At least no one will look at me with pity again. She did not remember falling asleep. Far beyond the hut, deeper in the forest where even moonlight feared to go, he stood on the stone balcony of his forgotten manor and watched the storm roll over the trees. His name was Kael, though no one had spoken it in over a century. They called him the Blood Lord. The Phantom of the Pines. The Forsaken. He did not correct them. He had stopped being human so long ago he barely remembered what it felt like. Warmth. Laughter. The taste of something other than blood and regret. He had built his life around silence. Around control. Around the certainty that he would never be anything but a monster. But tonight, something pulled at him. A feeling. A shift. Someone had entered his territory. His secondary shelter. The hut he kept for nights when he did not want to return to the cold halls of his manor. The place he went when even immortality felt too heavy. He should have been angry. Territorial. But instead, curiosity stirred in him like something long dead suddenly given breath. He moved through the forest like shadow, faster than sight, until he stood outside the hut. The door was open. Inside, curled on the floor like a broken bird, was a girl. Soaked. Shivering. Fragile in a way that made something in his chest twist. He stepped inside, silent, and crouched beside her. Her face was pale, lips tinged blue. She was still breathing, barely. He should have left her. Humans were not his concern. But he did not leave. Instead, he lifted her carefully, as though she were made of glass, and laid her on the bed. He lit the fire. Found a blanket that still smelled faintly of cedar. Covered her. Then he sat in the corner and watched her sleep, his red eyes unblinking in the firelight. And for the first time in 100 years, Kael felt something close to fear. Not of her. Of what she made him remember. Welcome to something different. Something real. If you are here right now, from wherever you are in the world, I want you to drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from. Are you listening from your room at midnight, on a walk, during your commute? I would love to know where this story is finding you. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Join this family. We are building the fastest growing vampire love stories community, and trust me, you are special. You do not want to miss what is coming next. Elara woke to warmth. Not the memory of it. Not the ghost of it. Real warmth. Her eyes opened slowly, confused. The fire crackled softly across the room. The blanket over her was thick and smelled like cedar and something else. Something wild. She sat up, her heart beginning to race. This was not how she had fallen asleep. The floor. She had been on the floor. Now she was in a bed. Covered. Safe. Her breath caught. She was not alone. The sound came from the other side of the room. A soft rhythmic noise. Footsteps. The clink of dishes. She turned her head slowly, and her entire body went cold. A man stood at the small stove, his back to her. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in black. His hair was dark, falling just past his collar. His movements were careful, deliberate, as he stirred something in a pot. The scent hit her then. Bread. Warm, fresh bread. And something else. Soup, maybe. Herbs. Her stomach twisted with hunger, but her fear was louder. Who was he? As if hearing her thoughts, he spoke without turning around. His voice was low, smooth, like gravel wrapped in silk. You are awake. She did not answer. She could not. Her throat had closed. He turned then, and she saw his face. Beautiful. Unnaturally so. Sharp jaw, pale skin that seemed to glow in the firelight. But it was his eyes that stopped her heart. Red. Not brown. Not hazel. Red, like wine held up to the sun. Like blood on snow. She scrambled back on the bed, pressing herself against the wall. Stay away from me. He did not move. He only watched her, his expression calm, unreadable. I am not going to hurt you. You are a vampire. It was not a question. She knew. Every story she had ever heard, every warning whispered by the fire, they all spoke of eyes like his. He tilted his head slightly, as if considering whether to lie. Then he nodded. Yes. Her hands shook. She looked toward the door. He stood between her and it. Then why am I still alive? His gaze did not waver. Because I chose not to kill you. The bluntness of it should have terrified her more. But there was something in the way he said it. No threat. No amusement. Just fact. He turned back to the stove, ladled soup into a wooden bowl, and placed it on the small table beside a piece of warm bread. You have not eaten in days. Sit. Eat. She stared at him, at the food, at the impossibility of the situation. Why? He finally looked at her again, and for the first time, she saw something flicker in those red eyes. Something almost human. Because you were cold. And hungry. And I have been both. Sit. It was not a command. It was an invitation. And against every instinct screaming at her to run, Elara found herself standing. Found herself walking slowly to the table. Found herself sitting. He stepped back, giving her space, and leaned against the far wall, arms crossed, watching her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. She picked up the spoon with trembling hands. Dipped it into the soup. brought it to her lips. It was warm, rich, salted perfectly. She took another bite, then another. Then she was eating quickly, desperately, her body remembering just how empty it had been. He said nothing, just watched. When she finally slowed, when the bowl was nearly empty and the bread half gone, she looked up at him. "Why are you doing this?" His jaw tightened. He looked away, toward the fire. "I do not know." The honesty in his voice cracked something inside her. She set the spoon down. "What is your name?" He hesitated. Then, quietly, as if the word had not been spoken aloud in lifetimes, he said, "Kael." "I am Elara." He looked back at her, and something passed between them. Something fragile and dangerous and impossibly tender. "I know," he said softly. "You said it in your sleep." Her breath caught. She had been dreaming. Nightmares, probably. And he had been there. Listening. Watching over her. This vampire. This monster. Had cared for her like she mattered. Like she was worth saving. And in that moment, Elara felt something she had not felt in so long she barely recognized it. Hope. She should have run. Every logical part of her brain screamed it. He was a vampire. A predator. The very thing parents warned their children about before bed. But her body would not move. "You need to leave," Kael said suddenly, his voice colder now, distant. He turned toward the window, his back to her again. "When the rain stops, you go back to wherever you came from." Elara blinked, confused by the sudden shift. "I have nowhere to go." "That is not my problem." The words were harsh, but she heard something underneath them. Something forced. She stood slowly, her legs still weak. "Then why did you help me?" "I made a mistake." "You are lying." He spun toward her, and for the first time, she saw anger flash in his eyes. But it was not directed at her. It was directed inward. "You do not know what I am. What I have done. If you had any sense, you would be running." "Maybe I do not have any sense left," she shot back, her own anger rising. "Maybe I have nothing left to lose." "Then you are a fool. And you are afraid." The words hung in the air between them like a blade. His expression darkened. He stepped closer, towering over her, his presence overwhelming. She could feel the danger radiating off him now. The power. The violence he was capable of. "You think you understand me?" His voice was low, lethal. "You think because I gave you soup and a blanket that I am something other than what I am?" She lifted her chin, refusing to back down even as her heart hammered in her chest. "I think you want me to fear you because it is easier than letting someone see you." His eyes widened, just slightly. She had hit something true. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then he turned away, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. "Sleep in the bed tonight. I will stay outside. In the morning, you leave. And if I do not want to?" He did not look at her. "Then I will make you." But even as he said it, she knew he would not. She did not know how she knew. But she did. "Fine," she whispered. He walked to the door, paused with his hand on the frame, and without looking back, he said quietly, "You should hate me, Elara. It would be safer for you if you did." Then he was gone. And she stood alone in the warm hut, staring at the door, her chest tight and aching. Because she did not hate him. She did not understand him. But she did not hate him. and that terrified her more than his red eyes ever could. The rain did not stop. By morning, it was worse. A storm had settled over the forest, violent and relentless. The wind howled through the trees, and the sky was the color of bruises. Elara woke alone, the fire still burning low. The hut was silent. She stood and walked to the door, opening it a crack. Kael stood just outside, drenched, his arms crossed, staring out into the storm. "You are still here," she said softly. "The storm is too strong. You would die out there." "And you?" "I do not die easily." She stepped out beside him, the rain immediately soaking her hair. "Then why are you still here?" He did not answer. She studied his profile, the hard line of his jaw, the tension in his shoulders. "You are protecting me. I am keeping you from doing something stupid." "That is the same thing." His mouth twitched, almost a smile. Almost. A crack of lightning split the sky, so close the thunder was immediate and deafening. Elara flinched, and without thinking, Kael's hand shot out, steadying her by the arm. The touch was brief, but it burned. He pulled away quickly, as if he had been shocked. "Get inside," he said roughly. "Not without you." "Elara, you will freeze out here." "I cannot freeze." "Then you will stand in the rain for no reason except your pride." His eyes snapped to hers, and for a moment, she thought he might argue. But then something in his expression softened. Just barely. "You are stubborn. So are you." He exhaled, a sound somewhere between frustration and surrender, and followed her back inside. They stood in the small space, dripping, the fire between them. Elara grabbed a cloth and held it out to him. "Dry off." He stared at it like it was a foreign object. "I do not need it." "Take it anyway." Slowly, he reached out and took the cloth from her hand. Their fingers brushed. Neither of them moved. The air in the hut felt heavier now. Charged. "Why do you care?" he asked quietly, his voice stripped of its earlier sharpness. She met his eyes. "Because no one else does." Something broke in his expression. Just for a second. But she saw it. And she knew, in that moment, that she was not the only one who had been cast out. He had been alone far longer than she had. They sat across from each other at the small table, the storm raging outside. Kael had made tea, though he did not drink any himself. He simply placed the cup in front of her and watched as she wrapped her cold fingers around it. "How long have you been out here?" Elara asked, breaking the silence. "A long time." "That is not an answer." He leaned back in his chair, his red eyes reflecting the firelight. 143 years. Her breath caught. She had known he was old, vampires always were, but hearing the number made it real. "And you have been alone all that time?" His jaw tightened. "Yes." "By choice?" "By necessity." She took a sip of tea, letting the warmth spread through her. "What happened to you?" For a long moment, she thought he would not answer. He stared into the fire, his expression distant, haunted. Then he spoke. "I was turned against my will. By a vampire who thought it would be amusing to watch a human struggle with what he had become." His voice was flat, emotionless, but she could hear the pain beneath it. "I did not handle it well. I was dangerous. Feral. I hurt people. People I cared about." Elara's chest tightened. "So you left." "I ran. And I have been running ever since." He looked at her then, and the rawness in his eyes made her ache. "I am not a good man, Elara. I am not even a man anymore. I am a thing that survives. That is all. That is not all you are. You have known me one day. And in that one day, you have shown me more kindness than anyone has in months. He shook his head, standing abruptly. That does not erase what I am. Maybe not. But it matters. He turned away from her, his hands gripping the edge of the table. Why were you out there? He asked, his voice rough. In the forest. Alone. Now it was her turn to look away. I was cast out. Why? She hesitated. The shame was still fresh, still raw. My father owed debts he could not pay. When he died, the village decided his sins were mine too. They took our home, our land, everything. Her voice cracked. There was a boy. He said he loved me, said he would take care of me. But when I had nothing left to offer, he walked away. Kael's hands tightened on the table. What was his name? The darkness in his voice sent a shiver down her spine. It does not matter. It matters to me. She looked up at him, surprised by the barely controlled fury in his expression. Why? Because no one should have made you feel like you were not worth everything. The words hit her like a physical blow. Tears burned at the back of her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. You do not even know me. He turned to face her fully, and the intensity in his gaze pinned her in place. I know you walked into a forest everyone said would kill you because you thought you had nothing left. I know you woke up in a stranger's bed and instead of running, you stayed. I know you are brave and stubborn and far stronger than you think you are. Her breath hitched. Kael. And I know, he continued, his voice dropping to barely a whisper, that whoever made you believe you were not worth saving was a fool. A tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. He saw it. And something in him seemed to break. He crossed the space between them in 2 strides, crouching in front of her chair so they were eye level. Do not cry for people who did not deserve you. I am not, she whispered. I am crying because I think I finally found someone who sees me. His hand lifted, hesitating just inches from her face. Then, slowly, carefully, as if she might shatter, he brushed the tear away with his thumb. His skin was cool, but his touch was gentle. I see you, he said softly. And in that moment, Elara realized she was not afraid anymore. Not of him. Not of what he was. Only of how much she already cared. The storm lasted 3 days. 3 days trapped together in the small hut. 3 days of shared meals, quiet conversations, and stolen glances. Kael taught her how to build a fire properly, his hands guiding hers as he showed her how to stack the wood. He told her stories of the forest, of the creatures that lived there, of the way the world had changed in the century and a half he had been alive. She told him about her childhood. About her mother, who had died when she was young. About the dreams she used to have before everything fell apart. They laughed. It surprised her, the first time it happened. She had said something about burning the bread she tried to make, and he had smirked, and then she had laughed, and the sound filled the tiny space like light. He had frozen, staring at her as if he had never heard anything so beautiful. What? She asked, self-conscious. Nothing, he said quietly. I just forgot what laughter sounded like. Her smile faded into something softer. You should laugh too. I do not remember how. Then I will just have to remind you. And she made it her mission. Small jokes. Silly observations. Until finally, on the 3rd night, as she tried to mimic the way he brooded by the window, his lips twitched. Then he chuckled. It was low and rusty, like something that had not been used in a very long time. But it was real. She grinned triumphantly. There it is. He shook his head, but he was smiling. Actually smiling. You are ridiculous. And you are less terrifying than you think. He crossed the room and sat beside her on the bed, closer than he had allowed himself before. I am still dangerous, Elara. I know. I could hurt you. You would not. How do you know? She turned to face him, her eyes searching his. Because I trust you. He looked at her like she had just handed him something sacred and fragile. You should not. Too late. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The fire crackled. The rain pattered softly against the roof. Then Kael reached out and took her hand. His skin was cool, but his grip was steady. I have not felt this in so long, he whispered. Felt what? Like I am not alone. She squeezed his hand. You are not. Not anymore. He looked down at their joined hands, his thumb brushing over her knuckles. When the storm ends, you can stay. If you want. Her heart leapt. Here? Here. With me. He hesitated. I know it is not much. But it is safe. And you would never have to be cold or hungry or afraid again. Tears pricked her eyes, but this time they were not sad. You mean that? I have never meant anything more. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his shoulder. He went still. Then, slowly, his arms came around her. And for the first time in both their lives, they felt like they had finally come home. If you are still here with me, I need to know something. Drop a comment right now and tell me, do you believe in second chances? Do you think two broken people can really heal each other? Because that is what this story is about. And I want to hear your thoughts. Also, if you have not hit that subscribe button, now is the time. You are part of something special here. This is more than just stories. This is a family. The fastest growing vampire love stories community. And trust me, we have so much planned for you. Do not miss it. The storm broke on the fourth morning. Elara woke to sunlight streaming through the cracks in the shutters. The rain had stopped. The wind had died. She sat up, her heart sinking. The storm was over. Which meant the world outside existed again. Kael stood by the window, his back to her, staring out at the forest bathed in morning light. It is done, he said quietly. Yes. He did not turn around. You are free to go. If you want. I do not want to. Elara. You asked me to stay. I know what I said. His voice was strained. But I have been thinking. You deserve more than this. More than hiding in a forest with a monster. She stood, anger flaring in her chest. Do not do this. You could have a life. A real one. I do not want that life. You do not know what you want. You are just grateful I helped you. But gratitude is not enough. She crossed the room and grabbed his arm, forcing him to face her. Do not tell me what I feel. His eyes were tortured. You will regret this. One day you will wake up and realize you settled for safety instead of love. I am not settling. Yes, you are. The words were brutal. Meant to cut. Meant to push her away. And they worked. She stepped back, her eyes burning. You are a coward. His expression hardened. Yes. I am. You are pushing me away because you are afraid. I am pushing you away because it is the right thing to do. No. You are pushing me away because you do not think you deserve to be loved. He flinched like she had struck him. Maybe I do not. Then you are a fool. She turned and grabbed her cloak, the one he had dried for her by the fire. Where are you going? Away. Like you want. Elara, wait. But she did not wait. She shoved open the door and walked out into the bright, cold morning. Kael stood in the doorway, watching her go, every instinct screaming at him to follow. But he did not. Because he was afraid. Afraid that if he let himself love her, he would destroy her. So he let her walk away. And he told himself it was for the best. Even as his dead heart shattered. Elara made it halfway through the forest before she stopped. Her feet would not move any further. She stood in a small clearing, sunlight filtering through the trees, and realized she had no idea where she was going. Back to the village? They did not want her. To another town? She had no money. No references. Nothing. She sank down onto a fallen log and put her face in her hands. She had finally found a place where she felt safe. A person who saw her. Who cared. And she had walked away because he was too afraid to fight for it. No. She lifted her head. That was not fair. He was not afraid of losing her. He was afraid of hurting her. There was a difference. And she had just proven him right. She had run the moment things got hard. Just like everyone else in his life probably had. She stood abruptly. No. She was not like them. She was not going to let fear win. Not his. And not hers. If he thought he was unworthy of love, then she would prove him wrong. Even if it took the rest of her life. She turned and started walking back toward the hut. Her steps quickened. Then she was running. Branches caught at her cloak. Her boots slipped on wet leaves. But she did not slow down. She had to get back to him. She had to tell him. Kael sat on the floor of the hut, his back against the wall, staring at nothing. The space felt emptier than it ever had before. He had lived alone for over a century. He was used to silence. To solitude. But 4 days with her had ruined him. Now the silence was not peaceful. It was suffocating. He could still smell her. Wildflowers and rain. The scent clung to the blanket on the bed. He had done the right thing. He repeated it to himself over and over. But it did not feel right. It felt like the worst mistake he had ever made. He closed his eyes and leaned his head back against the wall. Maybe he should leave. Burn the hut. Disappear deeper into the forest where no one would ever find him again. It would be easier that way. No hope. No possibility. No pain. Just the cold, familiar emptiness he had known for so long. The door slammed open. His eyes snapped open. Elara stood in the doorway, breathing hard, her hair wild, her eyes blazing. "You do not get to decide for me," she said, her voice shaking. He stood slowly, shock written across his face. "You came back." "Of course I came back." "Why?" She walked toward him, closing the distance between them with determined steps. "Because I am not afraid of you, Kael. I am not afraid of what you are. And I am not going to let you push me away because you think you are protecting me. Elara, you do not understand. Then make me understand." He ran a hand through his hair, frustration and confusion roaring in his expression. "I have lived for over a century and I have never let anyone get close. Do you know why? Because you are afraid. Because everyone I have ever cared about has either run from me or died because of me. His voice cracked. I cannot let that happen to you. So your solution is to be alone forever? Yes. That is not living, Kael. That is just existing. It is safer. For who? Me or you? He stared at her, unable to answer. She stepped closer, so close he could feel the warmth radiating from her skin. I have spent my entire life being told I was not enough. Not pretty enough. Not valuable enough. Not worth keeping. Her eyes filled with tears. And then I met you. And for the first time, someone looked at me like I mattered. Like I was worth protecting. Worth caring for. You are, he whispered. Then let me care for you too. I do not deserve it. Maybe not. But I am offering it anyway. He closed his eyes, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. I do not know how to do this. I do not know how to be what you need. I do not need you to be anything other than what you are. I am a monster. You are a man who made me breakfast. Who kept me warm. Who listened to me. Who made me feel like I was not alone. She reached up and placed her hand on his chest, right over where his heart used to beat. That is not a monster. That is someone worth loving. His eyes opened, and the vulnerability in them nearly broke her. What if I fail you? What if you do not? For a long moment, he just looked at her. Really looked at her. Then, slowly, his hand came up to cover hers. I am terrified, he admitted. So am I. What if this does not work? What if it does? A shaky breath escaped him. Then, finally, he nodded. Okay. Okay? Stay. Please. I do not want you to go. A smile broke across her face, bright and relieved. I am not going anywhere. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly, as if she might disappear if he let go. She wrapped her arms around him and buried her face in his chest. I am sorry, he whispered into her hair. I am sorry I tried to push you away. Just do not do it again. I will try. That is all I ask. They stood there, wrapped in each other, the morning sun spilling through the window and bathing them in gold. And for the first time in over 100 years, Kael believed that maybe, just maybe, he deserved this. Deserved her. Deserved a chance at something more than darkness. 3 months later. The hut had changed. There were curtains on the windows now, sewn by Elara's careful hands. Dried herbs hung from the rafters. The bed had a real quilt, thick and warm. Books lined a small shelf Kael had built. It was no longer just a shelter. It was a home. Elara stood outside, a basket of wildflowers in her arms. She had spent the morning in the meadow just beyond the forest's edge, gathering blooms to brighten the table. Kael had gone hunting. Not for her, he did not need to eat, but he liked to provide. Liked to take care of her. She smiled at the thought. He was still learning how to accept love. How to believe he was worthy of it. But he was trying. And that was enough. She heard him before she saw him. The soft rustle of movement. The deliberate footsteps. He emerged from the trees, carrying a deer over his shoulders. When he saw her, his expression softened. You went to the meadow. I did. Look. She held up the flowers. Are they not beautiful? He set the deer down and walked over to her, his eyes not on the flowers but on her face. Yes. beautiful." She blushed. "I meant the flowers." "I know what you meant." He took the basket from her and set it aside, then pulled her close. She tilted her head back to look at him. "What?" "I have been thinking." "About what?" "About the village." Her smile faded slightly. "What about it?" "You said there was a boy. One who abandoned you." "Kael, I told you, it does not matter anymore." "It matters to me." His eyes darkened. "I want to go back there. With you." "Why?" "Because I want them to see you. To see what they threw away. I want them to know that you are cherished. Protected. Loved." Her breath caught. "Loved?" He cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs brushing her cheeks. "Yes, Elara. Loved. I love you. I did not think I was capable of it anymore. But you proved me wrong." Tears spilled down her cheeks, but she was smiling. "I love you too." He kissed her then. Soft and slow and full of everything he had been too afraid to say before. When they pulled apart, she was breathless. "We do not have to go back to the village," she said softly. "I do not need their approval." "I know. But I need them to see. I need the boy who hurt you to know that he lost something irreplaceable." She laughed, wiping her eyes. "You really are protective, are not you? When it comes to you." "Yes." She took his hand. "Then we will go. Together. Together." 2 weeks later, they walked into the village side by side. Elara wore a new dress, deep green like the forest, that Kael had traded for in a neighboring town. Her hair was braided with wildflowers. She looked healthy, happy, radiant. Kael walked beside her, his presence commanding, his red eyes hidden behind dark glasses he wore to avoid causing panic. People stopped and stared. Whispers followed them through the streets. "Is that Elara? I thought she was dead. Who is that with her?" They walked to the town square, where merchants sold their wares and gossip spread like wildfire. And there, standing beside a fruit cart, was him. The boy who had promised her everything and given her nothing. He looked up, and his face went pale. "Elara?" She stopped. Kael's hand tightened protectively around hers. "Hello, Daniel." He looked between her and Kael, confusion and something else, jealousy maybe, flickering in his eyes. "I thought you were gone. Dead, even." "I was gone. But not dead. Where have you been?" She glanced up at Kael, and he nodded. "I found somewhere I belong." Daniel's gaze shifted to Kael, and for the first time, he seemed to notice the danger radiating from the man beside her. "Who is this?" Kael stepped forward slightly, his voice low and even. "I am the one who found her when you left her to die. I am the one who gave her shelter, food, safety, and I am the one who will spend the rest of my existence making sure she never feels worthless again." Daniel's mouth opened, but no words came out. Elara smiled, and it was not bitter. It was free. "You did me a favor, Daniel. You showed me that I was looking for love in the wrong places. And now I have found it." She turned to Kael, and the look in her eyes said everything. He leaned down and kissed her forehead, right there in the middle of the square, in front of everyone. And Elara realized she did not care what they thought anymore. Because she had found her home. Not in a place, but in a person. A vampire lord who had learned to love again. And a girl who had learned she was always worth loving. They left the village hand in hand, the whispers fading behind them. As they walked back into the forest, Elara looked up at Kael. "Thank you." "For what?" "For seeing me. For choosing me." He stopped and turned to face her, his red eyes soft. "No, Elara. Thank you. You gave me something I thought I had lost forever." "What is that?" "A reason to live. Not just survive, but truly live." She smiled through her tears. "Then let us live. Together." "Together," he echoed. And as they disappeared into the trees, the sun setting behind them, they knew that whatever came next, they would face it side by side. Two broken souls who had found each other in the darkness and had chosen love. So here is my question for you. What would you have done in Elara's place? Would you have gone back? Would you have fought for love even when it seemed impossible? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to hear your story. And if this touched your heart, if you felt every word of it, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Join this family. We are building something beautiful here. The fastest growing vampire love stories community. And you belong here. You are special. You are seen. And we have so many more stories coming that will make you feel, make you believe, and remind you that love always wins. Do not miss it. Welcome home.